You ever feel like you're literally fighting your own body just to wake up in the morning? Or maybe your best, most creative ideas only decide to show up super late at night? Well, it turns out that's not your fault. You actually have a secret biological code that dictates your energy, your productivity, and your sleep. And today, we are going to crack it wide open. So let's start with maybe the biggest sleep mystery there is. It's a question sleep specialist Dr. Michael Bruce says he gets asked all the time. You fall asleep just fine. Everything's great. But then, bam, it's 3 in the morning and you're just wide awake, staring at the ceiling. What in the world is going on? Okay, here's the good news. It is not a personal failing. This has nothing to do with your willpower. The answer, and this is wild, is literally written into your genetic code. It's all about understanding your own personal biological clock. And that brings us to the key idea for this whole thing, your chronotype. I want you to think of it like your own unique genetic sleep code. It's basically the master controller for your body's natural daily rhythms. So, what is a chronotype really? Well, it's your body's natural tendency to be awake or asleep at certain times of the day. And this isn't just, a preference. It's all governed by a specific gene, the PER3 gene. This little gene is the one telling your brain when to release the big hormones like melatonin, which is your go-to-sleep signal, and cortisol, which is your wake-up signal. Now, what's so cool about this is just how powerful this knowledge can be. Dr. Bruce says that once you know your chronotype, he can show you the perfect time of day to do almost anything, from when to drink your coffee to the best time to ask for a raise to, well, we'll get to some other things later. All right, so let's meet the 4 chronotypes. Dr. Bruce uses these really cool animal archetypes to make them super easy to understand. Now, as we go through them, I want you to see if you can spot which one sounds the most like you. First up, we have the lion. These are your classic early birds. You know the type. They make up about 10 to 15% of us. They're up before the sun, just ready to crush a to-do list. Their best, most focused, analytical work gets done mid-morning. But yeah, don't ask them to a late dinner. By the early evening, their tank is completely empty. Next, the bear. And listen, this is the most common chronotype by far, representing more than half the population. So chances are this might be you. Their internal clock just naturally follows the sun, which is exactly why the traditional 9-to-5 workday is literally built for them. They tend to hit their peak productivity around late morning, maybe into noon. If this sounds like a totally standard day, you are probably a bear. And then you've got the wolf. Oh, the classic night owls. The artists, the actors, the creatives, who often feel like they're just living with permanent jet lag. Because society is built for bears, wolves are often unfairly labeled as lazy. The truth is, their energy doesn't really kick in until the afternoon, and their most brilliant, world-changing ideas often strike in the dead of night. And finally, we have the chronotype that Dr. Bruce is actually famous for discovering, the dolphin. These are your light sleepers, the ones who often just call themselves insomniacs. They tend to be highly intelligent, very detail-oriented, but that high-strung nature can make it so hard to shut off their brains at night. They have a really low sleep drive and often wake up feeling like they barely slept at all. Okay, so here they are, all side by side. I mean, the differences in their ideal wake-up times and when they're most productive are pretty stark, right? Seeing it like this just makes you realize there's no one-size-fits-all schedule that works for everybody. So, have you figured it out? Are you a lion, a bear, a wolf, or a dolphin? So now that you have an idea of your type, this is where the fun begins. Let's look at how you can actually apply this knowledge to optimize 3, let's say, key areas of your life, starting right now. First up, coffee. We got to talk about coffee. Is a cup of joe the very first liquid that crosses your lips in the morning? If it is, you might be doing it wrong. The golden rule for everyone is to wait 90 minutes after you wake up. Use that time to drink water instead. Because, get this, sleep is actually a dehydrating event. So why wait? Why the 90 minutes? Well, it all comes down to a chemical in your brain called adenosine. Just think of it as sleep pressure. It builds up all day long, making you feel more and more tired. Now, when you first wake up, your body is naturally flooded with cortisol, which is a really powerful stimulant that wakes you up. If you drink coffee right then, you're basically pouring a weaker stimulant on top of a stronger one. It's a waste. The real magic happens if you wait 90 minutes. By then, your cortisol is fading, and the caffeine can go to work blocking that adenosine way more effectively. All right, let's move on to our next life hack. And this is a question Dr. Bruce gets asked all the time. Forget about mood, forget about timing. What does your biology say is the absolute best time for intimacy? And, well, this chart basically tells you everything you need to know. The most common time for intimacy is late at night, right, around 10:30 p.m. But just look at your hormones. Your sleep hormone, melatonin, is high, while all the hormones that drive connection and performance, they're at their lowest point. But in the morning, it's the complete opposite. Your body is biologically primed for it. As Dr. Bruce likes to say, Mother Nature is giving you a pretty big hint. Okay, so let's circle all the way back to that mystery from the very beginning. Now that we understand a little more about our internal clocks, let's finally solve the problem of that dreaded 3 a.m. wake-up call. Here's the secret. To fall asleep in the first place, your core body temperature actually has to drop. But as you sleep, it keeps dropping. And then, sometime between 1 and 3 in the morning, it hits its lowest point, and your body's internal thermostat has to kick in to warm you back up so you don't get hypothermia. That tiny little temperature shift is just enough to pull literally everyone on the planet out of deep sleep. Now, most of us just roll over and don't even remember it, but for some of us, that's the moment the brain decides, okay, showtime, time to be awake. So the whole game is about managing that one moment. Here are the do's and the don'ts. The main goal is to keep your heart rate below 60 beats per minute, because that's the threshold for entering a state of unconsciousness, or, sleep. Getting up, looking at your phone, doing mental math about how much sleep you're losing, all of that sends your heart rate in the exact wrong direction. If you're still awake, you have to try this powerful tool, 4-7-8 breathing. It's so simple. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and then breathe out through your mouth for a full 8 seconds. The counting distracts your anxious brain, and that long exhale actually, physically, lowers your heart rate. Repeat this about 20 times, and honestly, you will be amazed at how quickly it works. And finally, let's talk about setting yourself up for success from the very beginning. Look, sleep isn't an on-off switch. You can't just expect it to happen. You have to think of it like you're landing a plane. It requires a process, and it requires a clear runway. So Dr. Bruce recommends what he calls the power down hour. You just break the last hour before you want to be asleep into 3 20-minute chunks. First 20 minutes for any little chores or tasks you got to get done. The second 20 minutes for hygiene, brushing teeth, washing your face. And the final, most important 20 minutes are just for pure relaxation. No screens, just quiet activities that really calm your mind down. And really, that's the big takeaway here. This isn't just about fighting insomnia or feeling a little less tired during the day. Understanding and working with your chronotype instead of against it can improve your productivity, your relationships, and your entire quality of life. It's about aligning your daily life with your fundamental biology. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you've been given a little peek at your secret code, what's the one small adjustment you're going to try tomorrow? Are you going to change your coffee time? Maybe try a power down hour? Just start living on your body's schedule and see what happens.